Okay, good morning, MOA students and anybody else that's currently quarantining or doing whatever it is you're doing at home because you're not up in this room. It is Friday, December 11th, and here's what we're doing today. According to our agenda, I can analyze the Monroe Doctrine, and we're going to do that by taking some notes. And then our Achieve 3000, that's what A3K means, our Achieve 3000 article on the judicial branch is due. Also, I know yesterday I assigned IXL, and IXL kept crashing yesterday. Don't stress over that. I'm going to change the due date, and I'll give you guys time on Monday to do IXL as part of our review for Tuesday's test. So you have a test coming Tuesday on the whole early republic. You can work on IXL today. That would be a good idea. It's not going to be due until Tuesday morning, but I'm also going to give you some other review options. Monday will be entirely review for Tuesday's test. Okay, so hopping over to the classwork tab and scrolling into this early republic, I see my Achieve 3000 that's due today. IXL, you probably couldn't do it yesterday because the system kept bugging out. You can work on that some today, but the biggies are our digital interactive notebook and our early republic notes. So in the digital interactive notebook, we're going to be on page 9. You should have already done the top of page 9. We're about to summarize the Monroe Doctrine, and then down here at the bottom, you're going to add an image of the Monroe Doctrine. There's a lot of political cartoons on this. It's a quick Google search. If you just click on that box and put insert image and then do a search the web, and you type in Monroe Doctrine, it's going to give you a host of these possible images, and I'll let you decide which one you like. I'm a fan of this particular one. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that just so you see what that looks like. And it's a little bit big and in the wrong spot, so we're going to just kind of drop that in after we shrinky-dinky it down to the right size. And I could shrink it more to fit in the box, but you get the idea, and I don't want you to watch me play with this image for the next 10 minutes. So you're also going to type your summary here. So let's jump over to the notes, shall we? So here we are, and we're going to be all the way down here to slide 43. And when I bring this up, here's our summary. The Monroe Doctrine is a policy which states that America will not allow European powers to control any nations in the Western Hemisphere. So, the Western Hemisphere, let me grab my globe, guys. The Western Hemisphere, if we think about the globe, right? The old world is what we call the Eastern Hemisphere. So we're talking Africa, and we're talking Europe, and we're talking Asia. The Western Hemisphere are what we refer to as the Americas, and that includes the United States of America, but it also includes everything from Canada all the way down through Mexico and into South America. So essentially, what Monroe says is, hey, Europe, we don't think you should have any colonies anymore. Spain, you should get out of Mexico, and Colombia, and Peru, and Ecuador. Brazil, you should get out of Portugal, you should get out of Brazil, right? So we were telling European countries, England, you should get out of the Caribbean. We're telling these European countries that we don't want them on our side of the planet. We want them to go home to their side of the planet, and we'll keep an eye on our side of the planet. Thank you very much. Now, Monroe views this as an extension of Washington's neutrality. Remember, George Washington said that we want to avoid European drama. Well, Monroe says the best way for us to avoid European drama is to send the Europeans back to Europe, right? So Monroe views this as an extension of Washington's neutrality. Now, here's the irony. It actually is going to lead to the United States being more involved in global affairs, and I'll get there in a second. But I also want to point out that this is a voice of support for the revolutions that were already happening. So in Texas history, you learned about Father Hidalgo and the Mexican Revolution. That's going on while Monroe's writing this doctrine. It's very close to the end. You have Simon Bolivar leading revolutions in the countries that today would be Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, that part of South and Central America. So you have rebellions popping off in all of these Spanish colonies. And what Monroe does is a support for that. So they view that as a huge, huge pat on the back. And quietly, the United States is sending actual support, money, weapons, things like that, under the table, unofficially, because we have neutrality, right? We have Washington's neutrality. We don't go to war with any of these rebel groups, but we do very quietly help them out. And so that's really critical. But the other thing to know about this is the first step in the United States taking a greater role on the global stage. So, looking at your questions, right? Monroe Doctrine was written by which president? Obviously, all right. Main idea of the Monroe Doctrine was, well, we just said we want Europe to go back to Europe, which means we don't want them to have colonies in our hemisphere. Monroe views this as an extension of Washington's neutrality. That's true, he does. It's not, but he thinks it is, right? Let's see, true or false, true or false, Monroe Doctrines show support for the Mexican Revolution and those by Simon Bolivar. Absolutely true. And the true or false, the Monroe Doctrine was the last time America expanded our leadership in the global stage. Absolutely false, because we're still all over the place today. So you're going to get this summary, right? A policy which states da 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 da, right? You're going to get that into that. And then you're going to go do your Achieve 3000 and maybe do some IXL. And once you've done all that, you are Dunsky for the day. All right, guys. Monday, we review for Tuesday's test. Have a good weekend.